Lawmakers are returning to Capitol Hill this morning after a week off. They return to session, and the political positioning ahead of the 2026 midterms is already accelerating. Thanks for joining us this morning. Good to have you here with us. I'm Vanessa Broussard. We are accelerating into the midterms. Let's break it down. The major themes we're watching. First, election integrity remains front and center after major court rulings tied to redistricting and voting laws, with both parties already preparing for legal and political fights over congressional maps and ballot access. Don't forget the Save America Act as well. We are just about sick of Senator John Thune. He has done nothing, I repeat, nothing to get it passed. The future of our elections depend on it. So expect a lot of election integrity talk this week. Border security is also expected to dominate debate again this week as Republicans continue pushing immigration enforcement and Democrats pushing for illegals first, as they always do. Inflation and energy prices. Lawmakers on both sides are watching gas prices closely amid growing tensions overseas and renewed debate over federal energy policy. Gerrymandering fights after recent legal decisions gave states more room to reshape political maps ahead of November's midterms. And the DOJ and oversight investigations continue to expand as well, with probes involving crime stats, federal agencies, prosecutors, and executive authority. Now, back to number one on that list is an election integrity. We've known for at least the last 6 years our election system is broken. We won't rest until we get answers on 2020. And Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, she says the real results are coming soon.
Leaving the White House, he called me and invited me to dinner, which I was not in the inner circle. I was just overwhelmed. I couldn't imagine why. I drove down to Mar-a-Lago, which I think he thought I live, 10 minutes from there, but it's really 4 hours. And we had a lovely dinner, and at the end of it, he wanted to know why he won Florida, but maybe struggled in some other states that I think we're going to find out he actually did win.
We're actually going to find out he did win. Well, in a recent interview on Full Measure, President Trump said it again, as he always has. 2020 was rigged.
Venezuela and voter fraud. There are Venezuelan engineer whistleblowers who have provided your administration, my understanding is, with a lot of information and documentation alleging vote rigging in the U.S. elections, including in 2020, through an operation engineered in part by our foreign adversaries and centered in Venezuela. Are you familiar with this information, and is anything going to come of that?
Yeah, a little bit. And, well, I'm familiar with voter fraud because we have a lot of it, I believe, coming up on the 2020 election. The 2020 election was rigged. When I used to say that, they'd say, oh, the cameras would turn off. How can you say? Now they don't turn. The information, a lot of it's already out there. The election was rigged. It was rigged. You look at Georgia, you look at Pennsylvania, you look at these states, they were rigged. It was a rigged election. And they used COVID to do it, and they used crooked, dirty cops to do it. They had dirty cops. Like you read about Comey. Comey's a dirty cop, bad guy, bad for the country, bad guy. But no, the 2020 election was rigged. Anytime you have mail-in voting, you're going to have a rigged election. Anytime you're not using voter ID, the Democrats don't want, they're fighting us on the Save America Act. Anytime you don't have, when somebody says we don't want voter identification, that means they want to cheat.
Obviously, and back to 2020, we know it, you know it, everyone who can do simple math knows it. It was rigged. And here's what the president said this weekend on an election integrity group the Democrats are working on. He says this: Palestinian Chuck Schumer is hiring Eric Holder, famous for handing guns to Mexican cartels under the Barack Hussein Obama administration, as part of a Democrat-led election integrity group that will no doubt try to suppress Republican voters and interfere in our elections. Furthermore, he says, Mark Elias, a terrible lawyer with a horrible track record, is also involved. This is the same disgusting individual who was responsible for the fake Russia dossier from a foreign nation, that is, to meddle in the 2016 election, which I won in historic fashion. The Democrats are totally unhinged, and we will not allow them to threaten the integrity of our elections. During my historic election in 2024, when I won every single swing state and decisively won both the electoral and popular votes by wide margins, the Republicans had an election integrity army in every single state to preserve the sanctity of each legal vote. We will be doing the same again in 2026, he says, but it will be much bigger and stronger. All Americans should have their voices be heard by casting a vote. Be assured this election will be fair. And that is reassuring. We have to have eyes at the polls, poll watchers, and workers. It helped in 2024, and we have to do it again in 2026. But we also need to pass the Save America Act. Here's more from the president.
Anytime you have mail-in voting, you're going to have a rigged election. Anytime you're not using voter ID, the Democrats don't want. They're fighting us on the Save America Act. Anytime you don't have, when somebody says we don't want voter identification, that means they want to cheat. Then they say we don't want citizenship. We don't want proof of citizenship. They don't want it to be a part of the voting process. And yet, when it comes to voting, the interesting thing is 97% of the Republicans want voter ID. But if you add the Republicans and the Democrats together, 86% want. Jimmy Carter, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of him as a president, but Jimmy Carter had a committee that was set up, and along with Scoop Jackson, some very respected people. And the primary finding of the committee on the election stuff, primary finding of the committee was you can't have mail-in voting. It's correct.
We say the same thing over and over again. You need voter ID. But where is John Thune? What planet is he on? He needs to nuke the filibuster. We even have Democrats now calling for the filibuster to be nuked. We hope he enjoyed his week off last week, because maybe we're hoping that he'll come back to work today and nuke it, but don't hold your breath. Now back to gas prices, which was on the original list as well this week that we're watching. There's talk that we could be seeing some relief at the pump. Now, according to AAA Gas, the national average for regular unleaded right now sits at over $4.52 a gallon, and that's up from $3.14 a year ago. A lot, yes, has to do with the war, but as we've reported before, a lot also has to do with your state taxes per gallon. The Trump administration is signaling suspending the federal gas tax. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says the administration is willing to consider all options to help lower the costs. So right now, the federal gas tax sits at just over 18 cents per gallon for gasoline and more than 24 cents for diesel fuel. So be on the lookout for that. There's talk that the federal gas tax could be cut this week. Also this week, President Trump is preparing for a high-stakes meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping as tensions between the world's two largest economies continue to shape global markets, trade, and national security policy. That meeting will take place in Beijing at the end of the week. Joining us today to talk China and the CCP is Joshua Phillips, senior investigative reporter with the Epoch Times. Joshua, good to have you on today. Big meeting this week. Let's talk about that first. A lot of people are waiting for Thursday and Friday when President Trump will be in Beijing. What are you looking forward to the most from this meeting?
Well, I think the biggest topic is probably going to be the Strait of Hormuz. Trump, of course, wants that reopened. China wants Trump to stop doing the counter blockade. I think what Trump sees is that really the Chinese Communist Party probably could pressure Iran to reopen it. I think the danger, though, is going to be in any deal with the CCP is going to be a temporary deal. They will violate it almost immediately. China really wants a return of manufacturing. They want to basically roll the clock back. They want foreign investment. They want the factories back effectively. And if Trump does that, it's going to put us back at square one. Basically the era of Deng Xiaoping. And so we'll have to see what he does with this.
Right. Do you think that there is some background, underground, under the table friendships going on with China and Iran?
Yes. So the Chinese Communist Party works very heavily with kind of a triad of countries: Russia, China, Iran. Some of the satellite states, North Korea, Venezuela, now with Lula in charge, actually, Brazil is very close to them as well. Pakistan, a handful of them. But really, Russia and Iran are the two closest allies. And these three countries have been working together, the CCP, Russia, and Iran, throughout Latin America, throughout Europe, throughout the Asian region, and effectively are working to push out the United States, undermine what they call the unipolar world order, which means the Pax Americana, or the order under the United States. And they're trying to institute a new kind of world order. They call it the multipolar world order, where the United States is merely just one seat at the table of kind of global politics. But the CCP is deemed as the main enabling force behind Russia's war with Ukraine. They're also the main force behind most of the Iranian military. That's why a lot of their equipment comes from, or most of their equipment comes from China. And also diplomatically, they tend to represent Iran to a large extent on kind of on the global stage.
You're right, and there's been a lot of talk on that. A lot of people watching China and their connection with Iran, especially during these times. You have really been watching what's known as kamikaze drones. It's a strategic reality the U.S. needs to pay very close attention to. Tell us about these kamikaze drones because I don't think that they're in the headlines as much as they should be.
Well, what we're watching with these drones is effectively the way that new wars are going to be fought. When it comes to, for example, the Russia-Ukraine war, we've seen that tanks, even American-made Abrams tanks, are really not effective when it comes to drones. You have people buying effectively like Amazon drones or Walmart drones, hypothetically speaking, putting bombs on them and then flying them into targets. This has made a lot of conventional war fighting kind of obsolete. And the way that war is now looking is swarms of drones. The United States now has to prepare for this when it comes to ship defense, when it comes to vehicle defense, when it comes to the way we may even think of troops being deployed on battlefields, because drones are the new way of fighting wars.
And you mentioned how the U.S. needs to really think about how we would go about watching this closely. Do you think that U.S. intelligence has some gaps when it comes to the Chinese and what they're creating?
Absolutely, and one of the main reasons is we've allowed the Chinese to control most of the smaller drone market. Anybody who's trying to buy a drone in the United States would know that if you you try to buy one, it's hard to find a decent drone that's not made in China. But even on the military scale, a lot of their technology is what you call dual use. So the people making drones, researching drones, selling drones on the internet are the same ones who are going to be working with the Chinese Communist Party, using information they've gathered for war fighting. And the Chinese Communist Party right now is rolling out new kamikaze drones. When it comes to possible wars and for example, them trying to take possibly Taiwan, which may happen. But also when it comes to the CCP even supplying its allies, whether that be Iran or Russia, we're going to start watching these appear on the battlefield. And what they're making are effectively kind of lower end versions of the Predator drone, like lower end versions of what America has, but made not to do like long term strikes, but to just fly into their target like a kamikaze.
Yeah, so the bigger issue, Joshua, is that China is preparing to outproduce us, outpace us, our U.S. military capabilities, and that's very scary.
Well, and that's a big problem too, because what has effectively happened over the years is we gave the Chinese Communist Party American manufacturing. When people see, the new China, quote unquote, these shiny buildings and big investment firms and factories, that's not built by the CCP. That has been built by Western manufacturing and Western investment. We're watching effectively our economy flow that way. We watched our factories be offshored. We've watched rare earth minerals, basically shut down globally and all shift to China. It's a war for the factories, and that also means wartime production. One of the big concerns with the United States is if we do not rebuild our factories, if we did get involved in a war, we wouldn't have the resources because we don't have the, effect. We don't have the mines. We don't have the production factories going forward. We don't have the systems to maintain a war fighting economy. We've offshored all of it. And even for production, we've offshored a lot of that as well. And so it is pretty imperative that we bring that back to the United States and we don't give it back to China.
You're right. And, when it comes to our air defense systems and these drones and these kamikaze drones, we've seen drones in the sky. People have asked about drones flying over Marco Rubio's, the place that he's living in and stationed, and Pete Hegseth. What about the balloon that floated all the way across our country before anyone said anything? Where are our defense systems and what are these drones?
Yeah, well, you mentioned the balloon, the Chinese spy balloon. Yeah, the CCP was able to fly that across the entire United States, and had that been something weaponized, whether it be, for example, dropping a bomb or unleashing a virus, they do have biological warfare programs. We let them do it effectively before we did anything about it. They waited till it crossed the entire nation. Of course, the alleged big concern under the Biden administration was is they didn't want to shoot it down and have it possibly fall on someone. But for the Chinese Communist Party, that sent a message that said that we're not going to shoot these things down. You can do it in the future. We might be slow to react. And if they did want to launch a surprise attack against the United States, they could have done it. They really could have done it. And as you mentioned, that does raise concerns over the future of American, air defense. We need to stop thinking about just shooting down airplanes. We need to start thinking about shooting down drones.
Yes. You're right. And we even see them come across the border when it comes to the cartels. That's their new way of delivering drugs as well. Joshua, I was looking, this was probably a year or so ago. I was looking at a video online and it was Chinese children, maybe elementary, junior high, and they were sitting in a classroom and they were all putting together electronics. And it was very high tech. And I think, yes, we have a lot of smart, intelligent students in schools here in America, but I start thinking about where are our priorities when it comes to the next generation? You've talked a lot about the future. I feel that, and you'll hear me, my viewers know how I feel about TikTok. We know our children know more about the TikTok trends and the biggest dances. That's the new, you know, trend to make you go viral on TikTok. Meanwhile, you have China children over here learning the next best, biggest gadget for the future. And so we need to start rethinking. If we're going to talk about the future, we need to start thinking about our next generation.
Absolutely. And it is a concern also. Of course, TikTok is now being transferred away from Chinese interests, but they do have two different programs. The one they have in China, when ByteDance owned it, of course, the Chinese company, the one they have in China promotes all the narratives and things the CCP wants. It wants kids talking about STEM. It wants kids talking about robotics. It wants kids talking about school and working hard and these things. The TikTok version in the United States is dance trends, suicide ideology, brain rot type content. And it is a concern because what are we prioritizing as a nation and what are we letting our kids get exposed to? When I was a kid, I remember when moms across the United States would go up in arms over trends and social trends and entertainment that they thought was harmful to kids. It's so prevalent these days that it's almost like we've given up. There's so much bad content and so mesmerizing that people have effectively stopped even trying to criticize it. And that is going to be a concern for our future generations when our enemies, they're learning how to fight us, they're learning how to overtake us, they're learning all the ways that they say we're weak. And what are our kids doing? They can barely read, illiteracy rates are through the roof, and they're just digesting just harmful content almost constantly.
It's really sad and it's really worrisome. And it's something we need to really focus on and pay attention to because in a couple of years and a couple of decades, that's our next generation that's going to be on the front lines with Chinese who are preparing their kids at birth for success. When it comes to Chinese farmland, that's also very dangerous as well, Joshua, when it comes to the Chinese buying up farmland in America. a lot of this farmland is around our bases, our military bases.
That's accurate. Actually, I did some on the ground investigations into this. Um, so there are different narratives, and let me tell you the mainstream narrative first. A lot of the mainstream media is trying to downplay this, and the way they're doing it is this: they're saying that of foreign-owned land, Chinese interests basically control less than Canada. It's a very small portion of farmland they're buying up, even in terms of foreign-owned farmland. The reality is this: it's not about quantity, it's about quality. And what farmers are saying is they're getting approached by Chinese buyers, and they're not saying, "Hey, I want to buy all of your land." They're saying, "Let me give you a literal suitcase of cash. I'll pay you in cash, and I don't want all of your land. I want 1 acre of your land. I want a tiny little corner of your land." So when a lot of media are talking about the threat and they're trying to downplay it, they're pointing to quantity, not the fact that the Chinese interests are not trying to buy all of it. They're trying to buy tiny parcels of it. And the issue you have with those tiny parcels is where they're located, as you mentioned, by American military bases, by critical infrastructure, military bases, bridges is another big one. Water systems is another big one. Things that if they wanted to really sabotage us from the inside, they could have these facilities right next to it. And so that is a big concern, and I think it's finally getting some attention.
Yes, and it needs to. And there are governors stepping up to the plate to stop this from happening so they can own farmland in our country. I'm glad you came on today to kind of give us a preview of this meeting with Xi coming up at the end of the week, but also these kamikaze drones, very serious issue. We need to keep an eye on that, and I know you will there at the Epic Times. You also have a website on YouTube. Lots of followers, subscribers. I was on there last night. People can go and follow you on your YouTube. What can we find there when we go to your page?
Yeah, so I do in-depth analysis, news analysis, and on-the-ground in-depth reporting. So yeah, I do Crossroads and the Josh Phillips Show.
I love it. Well, Josh, I'm so glad that you came on the show today. Thanks so much for stopping by. We hope to have you back on soon.
Anytime, thank you.
Seditious Six Senator Mark Kelly. Well, he's at it again. Just this weekend, he went on an interview and may have said too much, enough to land him in hot water. What you're about to watch could be a leak of classified information. Watch.
Yes, Margaret, we have. We've been tracking it. A number of times we've been briefed by the Pentagon on specific munitions. Actually, it's been pretty detailed on Tomahawks, ATACMS, SM-3s, THAAD rounds, Patriot rounds, so those interceptor rounds to defend ourselves. And the numbers are, I think it's fair to say it's shocking, how deep we have gone into these magazines, because this president got our country into this without a strategic goal, without a plan, without a timeline. And because of that, we've expended a lot of munitions. And that means the American people are less safe, whether it's a conflict in the Western Pacific with China or somewhere else in the world. The munitions are depleted. You may have seen me ask the Secretary of Defense this question about how long it's going to take to replenish. We're talking about years.
Well, you know, Admiral Paparo, the head of U.S. Pacific Command, was recently asked in front of Congress about American readiness and whether the diversion to the Middle East was hurting it. He said he did not see any real cost on our ability to deter China. From what you have heard, when you say it's shocking, do you think that the U.S. would be able to defend, for example, Taiwan if China tries to move against it? Or are you saying we are not in a position to do that right now?
Well, it all depends on the length of a conflict. You know, conflict that lasts a matter of days or just weeks. I think we're well positioned to do that. If a conflict goes on for months or years, when it takes years to replenish some of these munitions, of course we're going to be in a worse posture than we otherwise would be in if this war in Iran didn't happen. And by the way, Margaret, what are the American people getting out of this? I mean, this president said he wasn't going to start any new wars. He was going to bring down costs. He's done exactly the opposite. War against Iran, costs on everything are up.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth responded by saying this: Captain Mark Kelly strikes again. Now he's blabbing on TV falsely and dumbly about a classified Pentagon briefing he received. Did he violate his oath? Again? Department of War legal counsel will review. Another investigation. Add this to his video with 5 other Democratic lawmakers. Remember that one last year, telling military personnel that they have a legal obligation to refuse unlawful orders from the president? A formal command investigation is ongoing on that as well. Former FBI Director James Comey now has a tentative date set for his trial, July 15th. A judge has moved forward with the latest case against him tied to the controversial 8647 social media post prosecutors say threatened President Trump. A federal judge in North Carolina set the trial date for July 15th and scheduled Comey's arraignment for June 30th. President Trump reacted over the weekend, calling Comey a dirty cop. Now here's a fun one from the brilliant AOC. Again, she's always so brilliant. AOC went on a podcast bashing billionaires. She's catching a lot of heat for it. Now, according to AOC, you can't get rich and make $1 billion by working hard and being successful. She says, you just can't do it. It's true. That's what she said. Watch.
There's a certain level of wealth and accumulation that is unearned, right? You can't earn $1 billion.
That's right.
You just can't earn that.
That's exactly correct.
You can get market power, you can break rules, you can do all sorts of things. You can abuse labor laws,
Yep.
You can pay people less than what they're worth,
Yep.
But you can't earn that, right?
That's
And
right.
so you have to create a myth that since you didn't earn that, you have to create a myth of earning it.
What? And here's the podcaster agreeing with her, adding fuel to the fire. Anyways, the American dream is to work hard, right? To get rewarded for that. But AOC says that's not possible. But let's go down a list of names. You have Elon Musk, you have Jeff Bezos, you have Bill Gates, Michael Bloomberg, Rupert Murdoch, President Donald Trump, Michael Dell, the list goes on. But according to the brilliant New York Congresswoman, there's no way people like Elon can build rockets and get rich by doing it. But it's another day, another uneducated word salad from AOC. We thought you'd love to hear that this morning. More to come here on My Mornings. We're inching closer to summertime and lots of America 250 celebrations. We'll talk about them, and we'll talk to artist Ray Simon about his artwork designed to celebrate America. That's all coming up next. Stay with us.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, regular $69.98. Now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, On sale for $17.98. Wait on it. Mega sale only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
When you read one news source, you get one side. When you read two sources, you get an argument. Read 40 sources, and you get the truth. LindellReport.com, the only place you ever need to visit for your news. From LINDELLTV, over 40 trusted outlets in one place. No editorial gatekeepers, no hidden bias. Just the day's news. Balanced, unfiltered, ready when you are. Whether you lean left, right, or straight down the middle, this is where you start your day. One click, one feed, one truth. The decision is yours. LindellReport.com. The news you need, the balance you deserve.
Too many pharmacies and insurance companies are blocking the medications that actually work. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. They give you access to treatments like ivermectin now, starting at just $2 a capsule. They also have methylene blue, hydroxychloroquine, and so much more. They're helping you stay prepared, and they've dropped their prices by 25%. Also use promo code Lindell10, you save even more. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use promo code Lindell10 and get the medicine you need.
It is America's 250th birthday, and there are so many celebrations going on. Today, we have our dear friend, Ray Simon, on the show with us. Ray, good to have you on the show to talk about some of your new paintings to celebrate America's birthday. Let's talk about those.
Good morning, Vanessa. How are you? Good. Thank God. We just got back from Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, and I completed a 12-foot mural for Johnny Morris, who's the owner of Bass Pro, of the Battle of the Bulge. And you know what? I'm just listening to your show this morning, and I'm saying to myself, you really need to understand American history, listening to what AOC said, to understand what's going on in our country right now, the challenges that we need to overcome with all this far left policy. The Battle of the Bulge started in 1944, December 16th. And I painted, and Johnny Morris, the owner of Bass Pro, and Jeff Wilhott, his right-hand man that accompanies him, they went over to Bastogne in December and sat in his father's foxhole. And the fog is so dense, you can't see 10 feet in front of you every year. So they were surrounded by 25,000 German soldiers. And General McCulloch, then Hitler sent a request for the general of the German command, von Reichsberg, to give him an unconditional surrender. And we all know what General McCulloch said. His famous, notorious response was nuts, because General McCulloch was a Southern Baptist, and he didn't take much kindly to swearing. And what's interesting, it just tells a beautiful story of unbroken, of holding the line, not giving in, and holding out until General Patton's 4th Armored Division pierced through the German stronghold of the Tiger and the Panzer tanks, of which the Black Panthers were part of that group, the 761st Tank Division under Patton's 4th Armored Division. So that I painted, if you look in that painting, you'll see Johnny Morris's father in a foxhole writing a letter home. And you see how he took, the Ardennes are made of pine trees. He took a broken branch and decorated it for Christmas with empty M1 shells. Can you imagine what that letter said? December 16th, 1944, 18 degrees. Dear Mom and Dad, I just want to tell you how much I love and miss you. And look at the image of the soldier, Johnny Morris's father, kneeling down, handing a child from Belgium a piece of chocolate for Bastogne. I'm sorry. So it really tells a compelling story of what America endures, what America overcame, and the role she played on the world stage. And a lot of people, Vanessa, just listening to your shows, and I've watched your shows, you see a lot of the far left criticizing America. And I'm going to say this again: America was never perfect. A Tuskegee Airman in Washington, D.C. told me when my paintings were on display at the National Archives. He says, Ray, America was never perfect. She might be the most perfect nation on this planet, but she was never perfect. And we all need to hold her hand as she continually gets well. And here's the thought,
You're
and I'll,
absolutely right.
and I'll think about had America not took her role on the world stage. Think about if America wasn't here, that in America did come at a great cost. The American natives, indigenous natives and slaves, unknowingly, unwillingly, their sacrifice is a huge part of the free world as we know it today. Because had America not been here, had the Industrial Revolution that wielded the great arsenal of democracy in the Industrial Revolution that ended the war in 1918 when she entered in 1970, that started in 1914, and how she took the world stage in 1945, you would not have a free Germany, Italy, France, Japan, South Korea, Great Britain would have felt the world would be unrecognizable, and none of us would be here today.
You are so right. And I love that you're telling your stories through your artwork. I mean, that picture we just saw, that painting we just saw is absolutely beautiful. You have more. And I wish we could talk to you all day long about all of the different stories in your paintings. And it's just so beautiful to see. You're so talented. And I love when you come on because, like, here's another one. Tell us what we're seeing here. This is America 250. This is the one that I love so much. This tells our story. And like you said, America's not perfect, but we have a story to tell and we have to hold her hand and move forward together. Tell us what we're seeing in this America 250 artwork, Ray.
We have our founding father and the current president. A lot of people from the far left look and say, well, what's President Trump doing in there? And I have to hold myself back because you have the founding father and you have the current president of today who's putting us, set up Space Force, who's moving us rapidly to the future. He's a businessman. Probably will go down, in my opinion, as one of the greatest presidents, along with George Washington. And if you look in the middle of that painting, Vanessa, you see Washington on the left, a little boy in the middle, which is America. And on the right, you see the future, which is AI. There's so many elements in that painting. You have Thomas Edison, the raising of the flag at Mount Sarvachi, the train, which is Manifest Destiny, the golden arches of St. Louis, the Industrial Revolution. Look at the image of Abraham Lincoln and Dr. Martin Luther King walking side by side, holding a child's hand and pulling them together. Again, we're on a journey. We have a long way to go, but at least we're moving forward.
We are. This is a beautiful painting, and you're so right. You'd have to hold me back too if someone asked why is President Trump in that painting. It's just perfect, yes, spot on. Going down as the best, if not one of the best presidents in our history.
In our history, and that's going to be on display, Vanessa, June 14th in Washington, D.C. at the Trump Kennedy Center. So actually, we're bringing probably about eight pieces up there that all tell beautiful stories about us. Always remember, celebrate the art within you, not you within the art.
Ray, is this on your website?
Not yet, because it really hasn't been released. Neither has we just completed the Battle of the Bulge one. So, but we're gonna bring up some large canvases up to Washington D.C. I mean, 6 foot, 7 foot canvases. That's just gonna tell America's story, and it just appears that the far left there's. And again, I don't want to keep banging on the gavel, but there's nothing that they would not do to hold on to power forever and forever and forever. There's a painting of Mike Lindell. There's another freedom fighter. Charlie Kirk, another freedom fighter.
Yes.
If you go ahead.
And you have actually gone to Mar-a-Lago and unveiled some of these paintings. There's the president with his infamous fight, fight, fight. All of these are on Ray's website. So if you go to his website, and Ray, the promo code Vanessa is still in effect. So if people want to go shopping for some of Ray's artwork, you can go do that and use the promo code on the website.
Vanessa.
Amazing work. Yes.
It's all at raysimon.art. If they go to raysimon.art, they could see, and you'll see a lot of videos on there, Vanessa, that tell, every one of the paintings tell beautiful stories about us. I don't paint negativity. That's what the far left does. They want to destroy America. And then I heard, then last night, and then on your show, I hear stories made up of Thomas Jefferson telling Madison, what? Well, let's just rewrite history. Let's just make up whatever we want that suits our narrative. It's pretty amazing how emboldened the Democratic Party has become. And I said this once before, and I just got to say it one more time. I don't know if you remember the commercial with Ringo Starr, and then William Shatner did it, where he said, "This is not your father's Oldsmobile. This is not my mother and father, Vanessa's Democratic Party that they were part of."
You're right. It's a different party, and they're getting more woke by the day, but we're not going to let them take this country. There's too many brave men and women who have fought for this country to make it great for our freedoms, our founding fathers, our military, and we're going to continue to, you mentioned it in the very beginning, Ray, hold hands and make America wonderful as she always has been. But yes, everyone can go to raysimon.art. A lot of his artwork is there. Ray, I have to ask you before we wrap up, how long does it take you to paint one of these paintings?
The murals, the Battle of the Bulge and the 250 took about 2 months. They're airbrush, acrylic and airbrush. When I painted Mike Lindell and Charlie Kirk, it takes about a month because, again, you're using airbrush, and it's awesome. My agent Ken Markovich, who you spoke with on the phone, who does a lot of the coordination of setting up a lot of the shows, he says, "Ray, maybe you should bring your airbrush and just." If Michelangelo would have had an airbrush, Vanessa, he'd have got the Sistine, 17th, 18th, and 19th chapel done, because you can get a hairline with it in detail, or you can just do a nice smooth surface. You can create faces in hours.
Well, you do great work, beautiful work. You're very talented. We love what you do. And I'm glad you came back on today to discuss your new painting. And that's going to be on display in Washington, D.C. at the Trump Kennedy Center, you said, this summer. So looking forward to that and all of your work. Keep us posted on how that goes this summer, Ray.
Thank you. And give my love to Mike. I think he's awesome. And I think he's just going to do wonderful for his state, because I'll tell you what, that state needs help after all the damage that's been done. He's really gonna have a lot of pieces of that puzzle, Vanessa, to pick up. God bless him, but he can do it.
Yes, he can. If anyone can do it, it's Mike Lindell. Ray Simon, good to have you on the show today. Thanks for stopping by. Well, this coming Sunday, the nation will rededicate the country to God, one nation under God. A huge celebration of Jubilee, prayer, and Thanksgiving will take place on the National Mall. Here's more.
250 years ago, our founders knew that without God's hand, the cause of liberty was lost. On May 17th, we come together to reach out once again. I'm personally inviting you to the National Mall for Rededicate 250, a national jubilee of prayer, praise, and thanksgiving on May 17th in Washington, D.C. Join millions as we give thanks for our past and solemnly rededicate our future as one nation under God. Be part of this historic spiritual revival. Register for your free tickets right now at freedom250.org. We'll see you there.
And if you are in the DC area this weekend, the rededication begins at 6 a.m. Sunday. It will last until 6 p.m., so it's a full day's worth. Big names are expected, including Mike Johnson, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, Ben Carson, Franklin Graham, and so much more. And as school is winding down for the summer, and as America turns 250, there's a push to put down the tablets and take a road trip to explore America.
What a beautiful family.
I just can't say hi to Mr. President. Can't say hi to the President Trump.
taking a little trip.
Yes.
A little trip all over.
So the motto is to love America is to see America. It's more than a road trip. It's a civic experience. It's one of the most powerful ways to understand the vast, beautiful, complicated place we call home.
It's the Great American Road Trip.
I love it. It's fun, family, and they're going to hit all the high marks in the U.S.
We're going to actually see it in person.
Because to love America, you got to see it. The Great American Road Trip will inspire families to step away from the noise, hit the open road, and reconnect with what matters most, each other.
Gas up the car, pack up the kids, get behind the wheel, and get out and see America. We did it!
How fun is that? The Great American Road Trip series is coming to YouTube this summer, so you can watch all the action. And it drops next month and explores the civics lessons about America's founding, our iconic national parks, and thriving small town communities. So this is another reminder that time is the best. So spend time with your family, take a road trip this summer, and explore America. When we come back, a website for moms launched on Mother's Day, a go-to place for all of us to gather and share stories. That's coming up. But first, a look back at Mother's Day at the White House. We'll be right back.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.
You know, most people think water's just about filtration, but in reality, it's about balance. What gets removed, what gets left behind, and how the water actually behaves once you drink it. Well, many traditional systems focus on one thing, removal. Reverse osmosis, for example, strips water down completely. It may sound ideal, but it removes minerals that our bodies need. The Century Wellness System was designed with a different philosophy. It removes common contaminants like chlorine, fluoride, and PFAS while restoring key minerals like magnesium and improving alkalinity. It also does all this without tanks and without wastewater and without requiring a complicated installation. It installs in about 15 minutes under your sink, so instead of overcorrecting, it brings your water back into balance. Please visit CenturyH2O.com and use promo code Lindell for 10% off your next purchase. Well, hello, everyone. Well, I'm turning 65, and let me tell you, Medicare has me confused. All the junk mail and the robocalls and everything else, it honestly feels like they break the system just to confuse us. Well, that's why I partnered and working with Chapter. They're independent, and they don't work for big insurance. They work for us. In fact, they're the only advisor that compares every single plan nationwide to find what actually fits your needs. If you're on the right plan, they tell you. If you're not, they're going to help you switch. And it's completely free. Just last year, seniors saved about $1,100 by finding a better plan with Chapter. So call Chapter at 234-LINDELL or go to askchapter.org/Lindell.
On Mother's Day, the Trump administration launched a new website just for us moms. It's moms.gov, easy to remember, and it's a one-stop shop for expectant mothers, moms who want to know about dietary guidelines, how to set up Trump accounts. Those are the savings accounts for your children's future. There's also advice on child sleep safety and much more, and they will continue to update this as time goes on, but this is the hard launch that went live yesterday. Again, it's all on moms.gov. If you need any help with anything, this is the website to go to. Now let's go to Wall Street and look to see how the markets are opening today. The Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, all doing really well. The entire board, as you can see, is in green. That's rare, but we love to see it. Oil briefly pushed near or above $100 a barrel on the Iran conflict over the Strait of Hormuz fears. Investors this week are also awaiting key inflation reports, including CPI and retail sales. And of course, the Trump-Xi meeting is this week. All eyes on that. But so far, so good. Looking at Wall Street this morning, opening bell numbers. As you can see, those live numbers from MarketWatch.com. In your news to go as you start your day, a major COVID-related hearing is scheduled for Wednesday on Capitol Hill, so be on the lookout for that. It's titled Whistleblower Testimony on COVID, and it will be held by the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee. The case has added fuel to the renewed Republican-led investigations into whether federal officials improperly concealed information related to the pandemic and lab leak theories. Again, that's coming up on Wednesday. It starts at 10 a.m. Eastern. And as we mentioned this morning, President Trump will visit Beijing this week. He will leave Wednesday. He'll have a 2-day meeting with President Xi. Iran and Middle East stability will be a topic, along with trade and tariffs, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. Huge meeting for the president coming up later this week. And looking at the president's schedule for today, he has a packed day today as well. He had an executive meeting at 8 a.m. this morning. Then at 10:30 this morning, in just a matter of minutes, he'll have a maternal health care event. And then at 1:30 this afternoon, he will hold a policy meeting. 3 p.m. this afternoon, he will sign executive orders inside the Oval Office. At 4 p.m. this afternoon, he will host the 2026 National Football Champions. At 5:30, he holds another policy meeting. And at 7 o'clock tonight, he will take part in a Rose Garden Club dinner. So again, a packed day at the White House for the president. For more news of the day, you can check out the Lindell Report on LINDELLTV.com. And also, you can download the Lindell TV app. It is free in your app store. And we're going to close the day in prayer, as we always do. Your Bible verse of the day comes from the book of John. The Bible says, "This is the confidence which we have before him. If we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, and whatever we ask, we know that we have the request which we have asked for him." And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for starting your day with us. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. We leave you today with sights from Iowa.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, regular $69.98. Now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
When you read one news source, you get one side. When you read two sources, you get an argument. Read 40 sources, and you get the truth. LindellReport.com, the only place you ever need to visit for your news. From LindellTV, over 40 trusted outlets in one place. No editorial gatekeepers, no hidden bias. Just the day's news. Balanced, unfiltered, ready when you are. Whether you lean left, right, or straight down the middle, this is where you start your day. One click, one feed, one truth. The decision is yours. LindellReport.com. The news you need, the balance you deserve.
Too many pharmacies and insurance companies are blocking the medications that actually work. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. They give you access to treatments like ivermectin now, starting at just $2 a capsule. They also have methylene blue, hydroxychloroquine, and so much more. They're helping you stay prepared, and they've dropped their prices by 25%. Also use promo code Lindell10, you save even more. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use promo code Lindell10 and get the medicine you need.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.
You know, most people think water's just about filtration, but in reality, it's about balance. What gets removed, what gets left behind, and how the water actually behaves once you drink it. Well, many traditional systems focus on one thing: removal. Reverse